Thank you for joining us again. This is the BOP, the BLERD official podcast. We are so excited you are here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we are so happy. Guys, we are here. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today. But before we do that, I got to introduce my co-host, Hilton George. How are you?
Oh man, I'm feeling devilish today. Look,
Yeah.
we talking about some stuff here that I like. We talking about some Marvel
Yes.
properties, some TV show, some
Some
nerd stuff.
DC.
So I'm out here. I'm about to be a bad influence. I'm gonna tempt Christy. I'm gonna
Oh,
teach.
Yes.
what?
Right? I got my horns ahead of time.
I think that's
Woo!
hysterical. I love that. Oh my
Fantastic. I
gosh.
love it. I love it.
This
Christi
is so
Renee,
fun.
how are you doing?
I'm
The,
here. I'm
the
still
myth, the
here.
legend, Christi.
Hey,
She
it's
has
me.
she has him haunting me in the background.
I
See,
know.
your backdrop. I'm gonna have to come over your house and put
We've
him
got
away.
some good stuff. I mean, you're with me. Look at
Yes,
you.
I'm
Oh,
there.
that's a
I'm
whole
there.
lot of them. I didn't know
I
And
you had all
know.
of them.
I
vintage
know.
Karan Ashley.
Yes,
Oh,
that's right. The slim waist.
all of us, child. All
All
of us.
of it. Yes, that was a 16-year-old body.
Right. So
Shout
I'm
out to the
here. I'm
16-year-old
excited.
body. Yes. Well, I am so happy both of you are here. Hilton hinted to it, guys. We are going to talk about some fun stuff today. You know, we have to talk about She Hulk. It just premiered.
Ooh.
You know, we have to talk about DC and all the craziness going on over there with
Crazy.
Discovery, HBO Max, and bloop, blah, bloop, blah. There's so much going on in the nerd verse. We have got to address it, talk about it, give our unsolicited opinions. I don't know. Somebody out
Ain't
there,
nobody ask us.
ain't
Ain't
nobody
nobody
Kevin
asked
asked
us.
Feige
us.
ain't listening. He don't
Ain't
want to know.
nobody asked us, but they
You're
got
gonna
to
hear
know
it
how we
today,
feel
though.
about these
You're
things.
gonna hear it today.
You are going to hear it today. Okay, so y'all know I was so annoyed. So a few weeks ago, we found out that DC had pulled the plug
Pump the
on
brakes.
Batgirl. Pulled the plug on
Listen,
Batgirl. I was so angry. Not only was this an opportunity for a Afro Latina actress to lead the franchise, not only had they spent $90 million, not
Ugh.
only did we have,
Ooh.
we had minority directors, producers. This was an opportunity for us to have another franchise, another moment. This was for the culture.
Mm.
They just pulled the plug on this movie, and they are still. This is what angered me most, that the Flash is still scheduled to release. And this man is over here holding people hostage. He's over here having mental breakdowns. He's over here losing his damn mind. But they gonna pull the plug on I don't care if the movie was gonna be good, bad, or ugly. It was done. All they had to do was finish
hit
it.
play. Just hit play.
Yes, that's
Just let it
all they had to
ride.
do.
Wow.
Like,
Just let
and
it
you know
ride.
what's so crazy? Like today, I read a report, and it's been more than 2 weeks since this happened. But today, I read a report that the director said they got the news. They got the news like all of us that the movie was canceled. They didn't even get a call. They just got it the same way we got it. This movie, the pull the plug. DC pulled the plug on this movie. They said they went to the server to access and it was gone. They had
Mm.
no access to the film. Everything had disappeared. I don't know what's going on over at Warner Brothers. I don't know what's going on with DC, but it is like the fans were angry. Like people were
I'm
just
angry.
like, I'm angry.
Yeah. Me too.
Hilton, I mean, it's
I
just okay. Hilton, you are our expert, or you are our, you have the
the go
most
to.
knowledge in comic books and fandoms and all of this. What was your reaction? Because it was shocking. It was
I
shocking
was
to say the
hurt,
least.
betrayed, bewildered, run amok, all of that. It was just terrible. That listen, first off, let me just say that woman's so fine. I would have
Yeah,
watched her. I would have watched her play Yahtzee for 2 hours.
Shut
I,
up,
exactly.
we're gonna just
fool.
have that's the whole movie. They playing shoots and ladders for 2 hours. I'd have been in the theater with popcorn talking about roll them
Yes,
dice again, girl. I would have.
yes,
So just put that out there. Just put that out there. Second,
Facts.
you
yeah,
Okay.
know, DC has already spent the money, right? and they have nothing to lose by putting out. And I'm going to say this: they
Yeah.
have nothing to lose by putting out mediocre material
They've
because
already
they
done
have
it.
already done.
They built a
been
whole empire off of it.
You know, there is a whole the foundation, the brick and mortar that builds up the DC cinematic universe has got so many clay and rubber bricks in it that that this would have at least made the money back, right? So that's just from a business standpoint.
Right.
And on the flip side, you know, any movie that you invest in, that kind of time, energy, casting, and everything like that. And I find it hard to believe that it's as bad as they say it is, right?
Yeah, because that's what they threw out there. They threw that out there just so,
re-edits. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you can do that can turn a movie on the dime, you know, to kind of make it more acceptable and things like that. Now, I think what has happened is that Discovery has merged with Warner Brothers, and for some reason, Discovery has taken the lead. I don't know why they're coming in, and maybe it's something in the structure of the deal. But this new group of folks that are coming in from Discovery are just throwing whole haymakers, just knocking stuff out. You know that scene in Head of State where Bernie Mac gets off the train and he just starts slapping people as soon as he gets off the train. Wow, you know,
Bernie Mac.
They Bernie Mac in the whole studio.
That's one of the best things.
Like I know people at Warner Brothers that are like, what in the hell is going on? This stuff is already in the can. It's not like some idea sitting on a whiteboard in an office. This is already in the can. We
cancel things that haven't been shot, like cancel things that aren't done. Cancel stuff that, because this is the thing. This is the thing. Crazy. We would have flocked to see it. First of all, Leslie Grace, the fine woman that Hilton has taught. Like I would watch her play Yahtzee for 2 hours because she's gorgeous. She's a beautiful actress, you know. And I don't even go that way. But you know what? I gotta give it up. When a girl, when a girl is bad, she bad. I'm like,
I don't go that way, but yes,
right. Yes, she is gorgeous. So I was so excited to see an like I said, Afro-Latina. I'm Afro-Latina. I was so excited to see someone like her and do this and get this opportunity. Like, you just don't understand. All of us, we were just crying. I would have flocked to the theater.
Look, we'll market that joint. We'll get you your money.
Just give it to me. I'll sell it on bootleg outside the beauty supply and make your money back.
Get my trench coat.
Yes, I'll be like,
oh my God, hustle man.
I will get you your 90 million back if you just give me the bootleg copy. First of all, I would have flocked to the theater.
VHS.
Secondly, I would have flocked there for Michael Keaton. Bruce Wayne Batman was going to come back in this movie. Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne Batman was going to be in this film. It's already been shot. I mean, like, come on. The nostalgia. The nostalgia.
He in it.
He's in it. It was shot. It was done. Okay. Brendan Fraser was going to be Firefly. He was in this movie. J.K. Simmons was James Gordon. He was in this movie. You know, I've never been, you guys know, I have my issues with DC. I have issues with the fact that we had Robert Pattinson, who is so amazing, who did an amazing movie. We also got the leak that, you know, Ben Affleck is in the new Aquaman. And now we knew that Michael Keaton they had 3 Batmans running around town in 3 different movies. But you know what? I was okay. I was going to go see this. I was going to go see it. And the fact that they pulled the plug, I just will never know. And then this is the sad part. Like, a lot of people in Hollywood were like, guys, this happens all the time. This is something that they do. It's sad. People get, you know, do these movies. The crew has put a whole year of their life into this, and it just is never going to see the light of day. It is
Nicolas Cage
shocking.
Is cutting a movie every 20 days that goes it goes past basic cable and you can only see it like in the back corner of YouTube, and it'd be like free with ads. You're like, oh, I didn't know Nicolas Cage. And I'm like, if Nicolas Cage can make one more movie, like they could have put this out. They could have pandered. I would have accepted it if they had pandered the African American and the Latina community and just been like, this is the African American, Latina, Afro-Latina cast. This is like it just super pandering and everything. I would have been like, you know what? Cool. you know what? If we're gonna do that and we're gonna support, we've done it before. And
We've done it
I'll
before.
say it. I'll say it. But I will lose a friend. I know it. We did it for Black Lightning.
Yes, we did.
Black
Yes, we
Lightning
did.
was better toward the end and
Yeah.
good at the beginning, but it had a middle range in there where it
That
was
just was
it was just
it
kind of
went up.
like,
What are
you
we
know,
doing
black
here?
man number 2 crosses the screen, says something to white woman, and it was really not. It won't really happening like that. But we supported because we knew what was at stake.
Yeah.
You know, we knew that
And
if
we
Black
love the
Lightning
cast.
didn't succeed,
Yeah.
that there would be other properties that wouldn't succeed. And so, you know, we are a forgiving folk, and we are happy to be included. And like I said, as long as the movie was not just a big $90 million fart, which I find it hard to believe because the people who directed it actually directed most of the episodes of Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
So that same directing crew, I'm like, I find it hard to believe that it was that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but what I'll tell you what I do think that they are trying to go in a Marvel direction for the third time over at Warner Brothers.
Copycat.
I think they are trying to say, okay, we need
Always.
somebody to help build the universe, build a coherent timeline of stories where the TV shows, the animated series, and the movies are all on one accord, where we are building a universe, just like you got up. We're coming into phase 5 with Marvel, and they're throwing movies that are already in the can away in favor of this new strategy. Now, like I said, this is the third time that they've announced they're going to do it with a 10-year plan to build a new universe. But to throw that money away, I don't get it.
Whew, Christy.
I don't
Christy.
know. I don't even know. I know. I don't even know what to say. I just feel like, how do you get $90 million in? Like, it's not pre-production. We're in post. I mean,
it was finishing
you're
touches.
in post, and it's like, that's just too much. But I want to know why. Like, was there any reason? Is there something being said about, like, I understand that everybody, the directors, they found out, like the rest of us found out, but why? Was there a statement released? Was it just, this film will no longer be released, and was it?
That's the statement.
They just left it.
It was just that simple. There was no build up. It was just a headline. I was like, oh damn.
And then they did try to leak, like, oh, you know, we tested it and it didn't test well, and I was like, I am not buying that. You know, it's bad when Kevin Feige
oh boy
shows support to the directors, because like you said, they had directed a lot of Miss Marvel, and they worked for Marvel, and so he knows how amazingly talented these 2 directors are. And when he goes and he puts out a statement saying, you know, I'm so sorry this happened, you know, when your rival is like kind of laughing, like kind of like, dang,
but like feeling bad for you. Like, I mean, we would have liked to see that. Even he, you know, again, even in their industry, like, you still want to see people's stuff, you know, even though you gonna come back and crush it, you know, but still, it's like and I think that says a lot about him, who he is as a person, and the role he plays in this whole industry, in this universe of film. And again, they are rivals. We get that, but
he is also winning, like, by a big margin.
Super
so
win.
He could be magnanimous and not really.
Here's the thing: it's
$1 million to
one. This point, this is why there's like no competition. Like, it's not even in the same playing field. I mean, DC to me doesn't really match up, honestly.
Yeah.
We all know that. It doesn't really hold a light to Marvel. But
see, the crazy thing, to Christy's point, is that if you want to say we're not going to release it in theaters, because there is a cost to that, and there is a financial risk, you got a whole cable channel sitting right here
where you can just release it. HBO Max, like that, it needs stuff.
Like, why not just release it there and just let it screen? You know, I mean, there are some corny ass movies on HBO Max right now. I'm telling you, and I love it because I've already paid the bill. If I'm like, I need something playing in the background, I'll be like, I'll watch Apocalypse Now Redux again. I don't care, right? You know, that's what it's for. So you throw it out there and let the chips fall where they may.
There's something else going on. It's something deeper Probably
Well,
dark.
if you look
I
at,
think
if
Christy's
you
right
look
on
at,
that.
yeah, no, I agree with Christy completely. If you look at like what is my new favorite show on Disney Plus, where they show the making of all these shows.
Oh, Assembled.
Yes, assembled. Like you really realize how these shows we might get it, but it took 5, 6 years before we got it. Like it has been planning, and I think that's where DC is lacking. You know, they're trying to copy a formula that has already been mastered somewhere else, so they need to figure out their own thing. But it's like these movies, it's like they don't see the light of day. They go through all these steps and all this creation and all this everything and all this, it takes years before we actually get some of these properties, but they've been worked on that much. And it just angers me that, something like this got all the way to the end and the plug was just pulled. Like you said, it could
Right.
easily be streamed. It could easily go. There's so many streaming networks that would take
it's
it.
something deeper,
And
darker.
and I feel like it angers me so much that we have seen all this news. The star of the Flash, he has lost his mind. Like he has robbed a liquor store.
That brother done took the blue pill.
Yeah, he has supposedly has women and children held hostage. It's like, yes, exactly.
I got a scoop on that, Karen. You ready
Please.
for this?
What? Yes, tell me. I'm Scoop. Hit us
And
with
this is going to sound so crazy to say it as much as it's going to be to hear it. But this movie actually screened in like the top 10 percentile of all the screenings they've done for any of the DC movies they've ever done.
Which one?
The Flash.
Oh,
they've
wow.
done pre-screenings of it. And it is as a movie as much a home run as any other movie that they've ever released based on
right. So they are
and so I'm looking at it like, okay, if you got a movie that people are just behind, but you got a star that is acting up, and you notice he did his first formal apology just recently, and I think they sat him down. I think they brought him into the studio and was like, listen, we don't know what's going on with you, but we need you to bottle it up until we can get this movie out, because this movie is about to be the next leg in, the series of movies since the Snyder Cut going forward. And I think that's why you're still seeing this movie on the field. And if it were anything less than spectacular or anything close to not up to par, I think they would have shelved it and they would have gone another direction. But I think it's because it's been seen as being something that is going to be an awesome movie. They're less likely to jump on that.
I just feel like this: if Superwoman, or what is it, Wonder Woman, 1984, that thing got to see the light of day, we should get that. Though that was the worst movie. But I was like, how do you go from Wonder Woman 1 to this?
All of this is pre-Discovery, though. You got to remember. HBO and AT&T and Warner Brothers and DC, it is a island of just misfit toys. Like everybody, there's so many constituencies and backgrounds and business models being tossed on top of each other over the last 5 years. And now you've added Discovery, and Discovery, if you ever watch Discovery Channel, you're not discovering nothing on Discovery no more, right? So I'm not sure how they got the controlling vote as a channel that was mostly reality television and reality game shows. That now they're going to come in and command a new direction at DC and Warner Brothers. But however they signed that deal, and for whatever reasons beyond me, but that's what you're seeing. They're coming in, and like I said, they're doing the Bernie Mac, just slapping everybody,
but not with any style. They ain't got no style.
No. They murking them in the quiet. They getting them in the back room when nobody's looking.
It's that colonized version of Bernie Mac. But listen, this makes me think, just that last point you made, Hilton, reminds me of a conversation I have every now and again when we start talking about real, true, genuine, authentic talent. And it makes me think of, because I always make this argument. Well, someone said it before I said it, and they knew really better than me, but like that manufactured talent and a lot of money, like I've noticed that, and I'm going to make a reference here, like in art schools. So sticking with the arts and how like this downtown area has an art school with a Black hero namesake. And it used to have really incredible talent, right? And so now over the last few years, it's been just saturated with money, 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 money. So people are buying their way in, buying their kids in, and it's been under investigation. It's been a whole lot of stuff. So, but it makes me think of this whole DC thing, because you mentioned all of those corporations. There's so much corporate involvement. It's like you're manufacturing talent per se, or you're manufacturing your idea or your vision or version of what would be successful. And it's like the people pretty much have spoken. And you also referenced the Snyder Cut. And it's like the people had to rally to get the Snyder Cut released, right?
Like stomp in the street.
Yes. So I feel like if those same people, I just feel like this would be, again, and this is coming from a person who ain't no DC fan. Like I have my bits and pieces. I love the Batman. Right. And of course, I'm always gonna love Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Batman.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They've had some good ones. They got us, have my pieces. And they lose us. They get us, and they lose us. Like
they very rarely get me.
Over there.
They more rarely get me, but I wanted to see this. I wanted this to happen, and I guess because I felt like this was another opportunity for them to get it, like to actually have some. Did you say that the directors of this film had worked on Ms. Marvel?
Yeah.
So like that right there,
same team.
And we I loved Miss Marvel. I mean, I binged it because it was so, and you know how hard it is for me to, y'all giving me assignments to binge those assignments.
You was on that one.
I was on it. Yes. I was like, oh my God, it's so good. And so I just think that speaks to the conglomerates or whatever you want to call these corporate cohorts, and you've piled on all this money, but to show what? Y'all want to play power games with each other? I don't know what it is, but you've gotten away.
I think we'll eventually know, because I feel like somebody's going to spill the beans.
Somebody
going to spill. There's going to be more to this.
Outraged, it's going to all come out, and we're going to be like, "What?"
I'll tell you. I'll tell you, Christi's on to something, and the metaphor in the movie industry, or at least the comic book movie industry, is the boardroom. Like, so when you watch the movie, like I remember when I was watching, before the Snyder Cut came out, I was watching Justice League, and I was watching this, and I said, I'm looking at this, I'm like, they tried to make a different movie than this. And somebody in the boardroom said it's too dark, and it's too mean, and there's no hope, and it's not funny enough, and yada, yada, yada. And so they said, well, we got 80% of this movie cut as the Justice League, but we want to turn it into the Super Friends. And so we got the Super Friends built on the skeleton of the of the Justice League, and it didn't work. And so when my man came in and put his 20% in, that put the Snyder Cut in its full blast, and we were like, yo, like this is what we wanted to see. We're like, the boardroom got out of the way. And you even heard Zack Snyder say, they gave me free reign and an open budget to do what I needed to do. And so anytime you see decisions like this that go against the at least what we know to be the will of the fandom, we usually say there was a boardroom of smart ass Ivy League people who are just kind of, you see in those TV shows and movies where like a smart guy with these oversized shoulder pads in his suit, talking slick, walking around the board table. Right. That scene is where we go. Somebody stood up and was like, hey, why not have them make cookies, huh? And then you're just like, then the movie goes off the rails and the director's vision is lost. And then we're sitting in the theater like, what the hell just happened?
Because the money said so.
The money or the perception of what they think the stakeholders wanted. Not the money from what's coming from the theaters.
Trying to please, like
we're trying to get Nabisco on board, and we're trying to bring these folks on board. So we got to build ourselves and position ourselves as a brand, and that's got to make its way down to the art. And once you start messing with the art, you start making bad decisions. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you the Batgirl was going to be an awesome movie and they showed, even if it, but my point is that the fact that there is a place for shitty movies and where we can see them. And we see these, and when we see a shitty movie in the theater, we mad because we didn't spend $40 and we drove and parked and everything. But if I trip over a shitty movie on Netflix or Hulu, I'll be like, well, that was interesting. Like, because it's, you know, so there's a way to get this art out
Yeah.
without alienating the audience, and while validating the work and the money and
Hmm.
the effort that your studio and the artists
Yeah.
and the actors and everybody put in, and they didn't do that, and that's what makes this
Right.
weird. That's
That
what
was
makes it so
that
strange.
was the blow. That was the blow where they just said it's not going to see the light of day. And you're right. It could have easily. It could have. We would have been mad when they said, "Well, it's not going to be. It's not going to have a theatrical release." We'd have been like, "What?" But we would have been okay if we knew that we were going to get it on HBO Max or get it on Discovery Plus or whatever it is they're planning over there. Like yeah, that was the blow that just like, wow, we all were floored. The other thing that I was floored about, and I don't know if you were floored, Hilton or Chrissy, about this, but okay, all right. When the Joker came out a few years ago, and Joaquin Phoenix, I
Mm,
mean, he did the damn thing. I mean,
yeah,
he
he
won an
did.
Oscar. Like,
Yeah.
this is a superhero movie, and he is winning an Oscar. He did the damn thing in the Joker. It was so dark. It was so troubled. It was so like haunting. It was just it just gave us new life to why this man became a maniac and he became a sociopath and he was a serial killer, and it
Mm,
really just showed how DC does their best work when they're dark,
Hmm.
and I was like, I'm a huge fan of that franchise.
yeah.
But then news broke that Lady
Oh.
Gaga is joined the cast to play Harley Quinn, and the sequel to this movie, Joker Folie à Deux, is going to be a musical.
Hilton's face. Hilton's
This
face.
is like when we watched Grey's Anatomy and they had a musical episode. And I was like, Shonda, what you doing over there? We need 10 cc's of epi, and you over giving me these like they're singing. The doctors are singing. I don't understand.
Listen,
What is happening,
if
DC?
it ain't on Broadway, it don't need to be a musical. Period.
Joke.
Point blank.
Point
End of
blank.
line. I actually was watching. I got excited, and again, shitty movies you just trip over on cable. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, the Bob's Burger movie. I like the show. I'll watch the movie. Right? Let me just. Yeah, I'm doing
yeah,
other stuff in the living room. I'll turn it on. And I
yes.
was 10 minutes in. I had to turn it off because it was a musical. Like, why are they singing? Like, there's never been a musical episode of Bob's Burgers. It's all
Right.
about the banter. It's all
Mm,
about the interaction and the talking over and the characters being over the top. And they are dancing and singing like it's Schoolhouse Rock. And I
Right.
can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm not
Like
gonna.
you
I'm.
didn't see Zoe Kravitz, and you didn't see her in the like they ain't doing no musical on the back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like, what are we doing here? You just had an Academy Award winning movie, and this may be a excellent idea. And they might prove me wrong.
That
Like, I might like go, oh my gosh, this is a masterpiece I didn't know I was
absolutely,
gonna get. It might
absolutely
be Purple Rain, like it might do the things that Purple Rain did to me in the '80s. But you know
that's
what I'm
right.
saying?
that's
But that is a rare situation.
very
That is a
Chris. I,
rare, and I'm surprised at Lady Gaga because she has worked really hard to establish herself as an actress, and like she did, even the first movie, even though she was a singer in what was it, A Star Is Born, but that was a movie that
About a
really
singer.
dealt with, yeah, it was about a singer, but it really dealt with the
bigger issue.
story of this couple and the things, and the singing was almost the backdrop to the movie because the acting in The Star Is Born was off the chain. Like, I mean, they had me crying at the end of that movie.
It
And I
was a
didn't know I was
really,
gonna get,
really,
yeah,
really
I,
good performance by her.
exactly.
And listen, I
Oh,
envision like the only way that this scenario could work would be a way that I've never really seen done,
right.
where you have two people who are insane,
Yes.
who are seeing music where there is no music. Like, so if somebody's, having a psychotic break and they go into a diner or something like that and they trying to order food or whatever, and then the person comes out, but it's coming out like a music video, that could be the way they do it. But if it's like The Wiz, or where there's like an actual like musical performance as
Broadway
part of.
musical turn movie.
Yeah,
like just like
I can't see
Hamilton
how that's
or
going to work.
West Side Story.
But
I'ma
if
tell you,
if the psychotic break is where you kind of are like
and I
stepping
see
out of the
that.
reality,
Yeah.
like maybe there's a way to play that so the
Yeah.
music's happening.
There's
But
a sliver of an opportunity for this to be genius, but
Yeah. It's going to be
Christi.
difficult. But even in, the first Joker, like he would speak in song lyrics when he was right before he kills the therapist, at the end, and he's quoting the song. But I see he clearly has music in his system. There's
yeah,
something to
that
that.
weird dance
And
he was doing like in the
very,
bathroom,
yes. And
like
he's
yeah.
he's rhythmic. He has a odd, awkward way of being melodic, I guess, in his movement, and again in how he communicates at times. So if they keep it really bizarre and dark, I mean, they're gonna have to, it's gonna be a stretch. I couldn't imagine it really truly being a full-on musical, because a musical is like 90% singing, right? And it's rare that there's any act. So I'm hoping they're not conversationally singing all the way through, but I can see parts where like he does a whole dance in the exit, I mean, so I could see, and it's very Broadway-ish. It's that, Frank Sinatra style.
Steps dance was a musical scenario
that he's envisioning in his mind. Yes, that he's on stage and he's performative. So, but it's very crazy.
But that was some of the cool haunting of that movie, where this abused kid turned man, it was like he was in his mind, that's why, he was born to laugh because it was the pain that was driving this insanity. And I just am like, why change? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't rework it. Don't reimagine. Like that movie.
Karen, this is Warner Brothers. We just got finished talking about the decisions in the boardroom, and I'm hoping this isn't a boardroom decision.
It was.
It sounds like
it was.
It sounds
like it's one of those things where I think I think it's heavily influenced by the director. The director had this idea, and he went in there and probably pitched the shit out of it, and they were like, "Oh my God, this could be genius." And like I said, there is a sliver of genius that could roll through this, and I want to be the first to like replay this video, and then when this movie comes out in a year or two, be like, I was wrong. I was dead ass wrong. Like, I want to be the first, and I will say that, but I really just don't understand.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Oh man, that movie was perfection. It was poetry in motion.
Yeah, it was.
We would have to see the trailer, because I think we would. That might bring it into a context that we might be able to understand, just like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Like nobody could have envisioned what that movie is going to look or feel like based on even the leaks and who's in the cast. It didn't bring it together, and that's what made that trailer so successful. Is that we haven't seen the movie, but we've seen the movie. Like we've been plugged into it.
It's already great.
So if they do a good job with their trailer, it might help us wrap our head around the basic concept.
That's true. That's true.
And I'm like you. I want to be wrong. I like good movies. I love being wrong about movies. Like, I thought that was gonna be a shit movie, and then I go in and I'm like, you know what? Like that was really good. Like,
I never thought Peacemaker. I never thought I would be a fan of Peacemaker. Like, prove me wrong. Like, I never thought that goofy ass character was going to lead a whole show.
They gave that motherfucker a series.
Yes, and would be dying laughing, like dying in hysterical laughter the entire time. I want to be wrong.
Maybe maybe they've put a label on this thing, and they're overreaching with the label, because we see musical as one thing. Like we saw that whole labeling Nope as a horror film. Well, maybe I know. I'm hoping. I really do. Because here's the thing. I'm kind of I'm being pulled in either direction, because again, DC, Warner Bros., the whole thing, like y'all just ain't getting the shit right. Like with the whole snatching of Batgirl.
I don't trust them.
with
I
the
don't
snatching
trust
of
them.
Batgirl, and now it's like I want to root for y'all, but y'all pissing me off. So
You
it's
know
like I
what?
don't know. I just feel like you're accidentally working for me. Like
Yeah.
it's just
The
it's
trust they earned with
random.
Peacemaker and then the Batman, they have lost all of it. They
Yeah.
like I was really like, oh my gosh, DC is onto something. This Peacemaker, it's dark, it's funny, it's edgy, it's all these things. And then the Batman came out, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
you know,
you went from the Snyder Cut to
yeah, you're
Peacemaker.
right.
Well, you went from the Snyder Cut to Suicide Squad 2
Yes,
to Peacemaker,
yes,
and you're like, okay. And then the
okay,
Batman,
Trend.
like,
we're
okay, they're
winning.
going dark and it's winning.
It's winning, and we got the
And
Joker.
now what
Like
the hell is
it
this?
might have been the Joker, the Snyder cut. Like remember, we got the Joker before that, but it's like all the trust has gone out the window with Batgirl and with the musical version of.
It sounds ridiculous just to
It
say
sounds
it, and
ridiculous,
I
and
think that's the
I
thing.
hope, yeah, I
Yeah, we just
really
get
hope
past it.
I hope I'm wrong.
I could
But
see
on to
one. I
bigger
could
and
see
better
one or
news.
two, maybe 2 or 3 moments of a 3 minute
Yeah,
something, but I
yeah.
can't see a whole damn film. Like that would just be bizarre to me. I
If they
don't,
would
and
have,
I
yeah,
don't like. I just don't want
oh,
to see that.
right,
I want to see
like,
acting.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
because
see Lady Gaga. I like her in
I love her as
roles
an
where
actress.
she
Yeah.
is stretched and she's acting. I don't really want to see her singing in a film like this, in a comic book film that
Maybe they
is
do. The
supposed to be
irony is
dark.
that she's the only one not singing. Like, then that would be
That's hysterical.
maybe that would be the
Either
twist.
way.
Right, because we
Either
know
way.
he can sing. He was Johnny Cash, so we know he's got some singing in there, But oh man.
That's too much
But
for me.
on to bigger and better news.
Yeah.
Marvel released the first episode of She-Hulk. Oh man, She-Hulk, guys. I'm on
We're
board.
fan.
Like I
Fan.
didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know what to think of it. I just went in and was like, okay, let's do this. She-Hulk. I was really excited. I was anticipating this series. The first episode pulled me in,
Yep.
and it introduced the character, and I want to go to you first, Hilton, because you are our Marvel. You know the history of She-Hulk in the comics. Yeah. I want to get your first impression of what you thought. I mean, we're only one episode in, so it's not, we're going to come back and probably do a whole, once the series is over. But I thought it was good enough for us to talk about now. Like, I felt like we needed to talk about it and give our first look, because if you're on the fence of whether or not you're going to watch it, I vote that you watch.
This was so this is taking place in the style of the John Byrne rewrite era in the 80s and 90s. So John Byrne was an artist and writer, and me as an artist, when I was really, really into comic book art, he was one of my favorites. His name is John Byrne, and he just did so many titles to the 80s and 90s, and he went in and did the writing. He actually wrote the skeleton of the series called Man of Steel, from which the Superman franchise rebooted. It was based off of loosely off of his reinterpretation that they did, and he had taken the She-Hulk character and had allowed her to break the fourth wall, and did a lot of stuff that no other characters in comics, even at that time, were doing. Like, she would walk from her apartment to her office by crossing over from one frame on a page to the next. Like, literally, this is a faster way to get to work. I'm just going to cross the frame. Yes. Like, she would rip through the page, and you would see the next page behind it, because she's like, "What the hell are you doing, John, with this writing? This is some bullshit," yada yada. So I'm glad that they embraced that version of her, because she wasn't like that in the cartoons, and she wasn't really like that in a lot of the comic that preceded her. And I thought that was a better way to tell the story, because she's a lawyer who doesn't really want to be a superhero. Yeah. And so the fact that you're putting her in this situation, which is like, they give her powers immediately, and I'm glad they didn't do some long drawn out build up. Oh yeah. She pretty much turns to the audience is like, okay, I know you guys don't give a damn about this this show, if I don't tell you guys about how I'm a Hulk and everything. So let's just rewind. And so she's opening up that conversation with the audience, and the fourth wall, and it does it so brilliantly. And for those of us who are over the age of 35, to give you a reference, if you have not seen the show, remember the TV show Ally McBeal?
Yeah.
Where where you have this central character for which the whole show orbits around like the sun. And, you know, it's her and you are with her and you are feeling her perspective and her emotions and her experience throughout the entirety of the series. That show never stepped out of Ally McBeal's perspective.
Not ever out of her brain.
Anyway. It was always in her head, and that was very original at the time. Like there wasn't a whole lot of that, especially of a female character, where you're really getting to see like, oh my God, my biological clock and da 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 da. This show kind of steps into that same genre and does it in a really creative way. I mean, and it's so cool because she's able to articulate a lot of the womanhood of the character because it is a show obviously that is produced and directed by women, and the writing is by women. So the voice of the women is coming through the show, and that authenticity is part of the Marvel formula. They're like, okay, we've got a female superhero character that is going to be going through this, and this. Like, why not bring in a female writer and a female director and all of this stuff? So it's so authentic, and some of the lines in the show, you know, one of which now, and then I'll leave it, is that she's talking with Bruce the Hulk. They call him Professor Hulk in the comics, as to why she's just turned into Hulk, but she doesn't have a dual personality, and she can turn in and out. She can Hulk in and out at will, and it's not something that happens when she's out of control with her emotions. And she's basically saying, like, I have spent my entire life as a woman, you know, controlling my emotions, because if I don't, when somebody who is incompetent tries to explain my job to me, or I'm being told to smile, or I'm being catcalled while walking down the streets, not only
all the things women deal with,
I'm either going to get called difficult, hard to work with, emotional,
they're going to be
or might get murdered. I have to control my emotions as a woman for the entirety of my life. So I don't have any trouble controlling my emotions as a Hulk. Whereas for those who don't know, Bruce Banner was abused and neglected and repressed his person and his emotions, so that when he got gamma irradiated, it generated an entire DID situation where the Hulk was a different personality. And that's what he spent the 15 years resolving. So when she's like, he was shocked that she was still her, even as Hulk. And she explained why that was. And that has always been the case. That is not new for the character, which is why I can't understand why so many incels are upset about, why can't she just say she can't read this pandering and all this stuff. Like,
oh my God,
pick up a comic book. This has always been her. This is canon. Like, she's never been a rage machine. When she turned into Hulk, she always remained herself. And she could turn into the Hulk, she could turn away from the Hulk, whatever she wanted. And that was what kind of made her character fun. So I loved it. It's a win. It's a
win. Definitely. Well, one thing I love when they opened up, like it's her and Mark Ruffalo, the actress that plays She-Hulk is Tatiana Maslany. Her and Mark Ruffalo have the best. Chemistry. Like
real cousins.
They're cousins, like, right.
Real cousins. Like brother, sister, cousins. Like, you know, when you have a cousin, it's like it should have just been your sibling. Like
cousins in the dozens. That's what they were doing.
Yes, they have the best chemistry. And he instantly, you know, tries to put her on the island with him and tries to help her come to grips. And she, like you said, because she's a woman, because she's dealt with these things, she was like, I got it there. I don't need this island. I don't want to seclude myself. I
already do yoga. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not going to live a life alone. I'm not going to not love. I'm not going to not feel. I'm not going to be isolated. And she really pointed out a lot of things that Bruce Banner had done, you know, because he was so ashamed of the Hulk, his rage. And he was like, when you've been labeled a monster, you never can come back from that. And she's like, women are already labeled that. If you even try to stomp your feet and say, I'm woman, hear me roar, you are going to be like, they're coming for you, you know? And so for no other reason, I want every young girl, every woman, everybody to watch this, because you need to see it, and men need to see it too, because you need to have some insight onto what women deal with. But you know, her and Mark Ruffalo, their chemistry was the best. I was cracking up. I was in the airport because I was like, me and Christy all weekend we're like, we gotta watch She-Hulk. We gotta watch She-Hulk. And every night we were like, oh, we were exhausted. You know, we couldn't. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be at the airport. I've got, it's one episode. I'm going to sit and watch it, and that's going to help hold me over. And it was the best. Christy, what was your reaction to She-Hulk?
I loved it. I watched it actually this morning. And I was so thrilled. I was really impressed. And it's funny because at first I was wondering, like, are we actually going to see a lot of Mark Ruffalo? Because again, I adore him.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if he was going to be like cameo time. And I thought, I really hope that they have him there an extended time, because this is not something, that's not a character you can only be like a drive-by wave and we're related, or a phone call like from another place in the universe. So I loved how engaged he was in this first episode. And of course, we're going to now see more of her dealing with what she's got to deal with. The banter between the two of them is classically funny. And again, organic. It just felt so natural. There was no forced writing. You didn't have to make up any cliche shit. It's just like, it was so natural. It's like how I felt about, the kids, the girls talking in Miss Marvel. Like, it was just really
Kamala Khan was Kamala Khan.
I mean, they were incredibly accurate, because it just felt like so real. So that was great. And I have to echo what you two just touched on with the whole conversation between the two of them about, her as a woman. First of all, really defining the differences between man versus woman, just in your typical standard, if we're just going to take those two things, right? And how we have to function in society, how we function personally, privately, publicly, whatever. But it's like, when she goes into that spiel about, I get dealing with mansplaining, like it could be anything. I'm constantly, like, we're constantly in.
Actually, Christy,
right.
That's that bullshit. That's exactly it. But I just love that they took the time, as Marvel so marvelously does. They always take the time. They're so refreshing. I'm so glad we ended the show on this note, because
breath of fresh air, honey.
We've talked about the madness of another universe, but Marvel just absolutely gets it, and they're hiring all the right people. We always got to give them their props for that. And I am looking forward to episode after episode after episode. And I love the fight at the end. I thought that they are like, he just could not come to grips with, she is stronger than me. When he pushes her off the cliff, I'm like, and they use y'all's favorite word.
That was a big move. I was like, I thought it was Hilton. I was like, but it was. And there's no other way to describe it.
And when they're fixing the bar, because they tear up his bar, which I thought that was a great, because clearly this is after, Cap is gone.
Or after, Tony Stark,
Oh, Tony is gone,
yeah.
And they have the whole, sentimental moment with the initials carved in the bar, and it's just, I thought that was a great moment. And of course, when he looks up, because he's looking at her like, who are you talking to? And she tries to play off looking at us. I was like, this is great. So like, he doesn't even, it's not even his thing. It's literally reserved for her and for us, the audience. So
ironically enough, she was breaking the fourth wall before Deadpool.
Yes, you posted about this.
I read your post about that, and I thought,
people were so outraged. Like, she stole that from Deadpool, and you were like, let's get out the comic books.
Like, stop. Some of the stuff was even happening outside of comics. Like, shit, it don't belong to really any. We can go back if we want to give somebody. It's just paying homage, and it's also something, if you can make it work, use it, do it.
And I want to talk to the fans really quickly. This has the best post-credit scene I think I've ever seen in Marvel. That post-credit scene is the high note that you didn't know you needed. I was like, what are they about to do? And that moment encapsulates, in my mind, the hope of what the tone and the spirit of this series is going to be going forward, because they're playing so light with, they could have gone heavy and they could have gone dark. They could have done a lot of different directions with this, but the fact that they are going to make this, because she's smart, she's a lawyer, and the fact that you're going to have this lawyer who's actually going to be using her superpowers as a representative for people who have powers, or it just really just strikes everything that the comic was so great with. And the fact that, there, and the bad thing is that there are people who, as a man, I run into people online that I didn't know were threatened by some of these, feminist messages and these feminine voices.
They
and
get
it's
angry.
like, wait a minute, you watch the news. Like, that women are getting cut and shot and killed in clubs for turning men down for drinks. So for her to acknowledge that as part of her experience is not pandering, and it shouldn't be threatening. It should not put you on your heels. Like, this is the reality that women live with. And then to have that's a line that most, I mean, before the Feige era, like, you would never see a line like that on a TV show.
Right.
Like, that just something that raw. It just, it's a, what is the line in Black Panther? Like, don't sneak up on me, colonizer. Like that line defines where the script writer's mindset was with everything. It tells you everything you need to know about the characters in the movie. This does the same thing.
Yeah.
And I hope it does more of it. And yes, there's going to be some guys who's kind of mad about it and all that stuff, but I think it's going to be successful and it's going to win, and it's going to introduce brilliantly this new character into the MCU that I think they're going to do more with beyond the show, which is what I hope for. Because Tatiana actually is a brilliant actress, but I wasn't sure how she was going to play it. She was in the HBO series Perry Mason. She was in Perry Mason as the Barnstar preacher. Yeah, and I was like, she was brilliant in that, but I'm like,
can she do superhero? Like, it's like, wait,
you never know, but
she did it.
She did it, man. Yes,
she's definitely really doing it.
But you know what? Again, that's why it works. That's why the Marvel universe has worked, because they are, like you said, they do the right things. They hire the women to write this show, to direct this show. They have them leading the charge so that you have the right voice. You have the right undertone, and they're not afraid to put that underlying political realness, like the things that are really happening in real life. They're not afraid to go there. They're not preaching to you. They're not selling you a bill of goods. It is just real, and that's what happens in all of their shows. Like, we saw it in Miss Marvel. We saw it in we saw it in we saw America. And all the new characters that they're pushing, we see the underlying things that they're dealing with. We saw it in Moon Knight. We saw it in all of it. It's not going to sugarcoat the reality of what these minority characters, which are people of color, women, like anybody that they're pulling on, anything that is representing, they're not going to silence the voice that needs to be heard from those characters, and the voice that needs to be the ally to those people who are really living that experience.
And speaking of living, I don't want to cut you off, but
cut me off.
That scene, and I want to ask you two as women on this panel, the scene where she is coming out of the bar and waiting for her cousin to pick her up, and the guys approach her.
The three.
I mean, the demonstration of a scene that I know that I've seen as a man play out. But as women, like, did y'all look at that and go, "Oh my God, if I have not lived through that,
I wanted to Hulk out every time."
I mean, with the authenticity that I sensed in it, I just wanted to get your feedback on, because it was like she literally was going through the scenario that she was talking about later in the episode about, if I turn these guys down the wrong way, they might attack me. And you saw those guys turning over, kind of like going from that, hey, baby, to the, oh, why are you being this way?
And
almost.
How
did y'all feel about that? Like, how did that?
I can't tell you how many times I've gone somewhere. It could be the freaking grocery store, and you don't give the right answer. A man hits on you, and you're just like, oh, thank you for the compliment, but I'm married, or I'm not interested. And it's like a switch turns. And it's like, bitch, like, it's like, whoa, like, who is this monster who, and it's happened more times than I even want to say, but it's what women deal with. And it's the aggression that it's like an aggressive, like, I don't know what it is, because you But it's funny because I found myself being very polite, very kind, very, oh, thank you so much. But, I'm good, and even when you do that, you still get this male aggressive like behavior. And,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not surprised when you hear a woman who says that, she was beaten or she was stabbed or she was, because there's a thin line. It could go there instantly because you rejected them or because you aren't, you know, I don't know. You're not giving them what they want. But yeah, it was. I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to turn around and turn into the Hulk and scare the shit out of him like he did.
Yeah.
Like it was like wow. But yeah, like I said, they're never afraid to touch on realistic issues that women or anybody deal with. That's one thing I love about Marvel. They keep it all the way real. All the way real.
And to your point, Karen, I'm gonna just everything she just said, ditto. You're absolutely right. We deal with that stuff on a regular basis, but it makes me circle back around to when you initiated Hilton speaking to your audience, and I saw some exchange, on one of the threads on social media.
Oh, they was
mad.
Anybody,
this is what I say to them. And I think, listen up, y'all, get real close. Y'all come real close to your speakers. Well, not y'all, because y'all know. But everybody out there listening.
But I'm gonna give you that respect.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's what I want everybody to do. Get real close. Because listen, if you got a problem with any of the words that were spoken in regard to this particular issue of what women have to deal with, that scene right there that literally illustrates accuracy, pure fact, 1000% fact, you're the asshole. It's you do that. You're guilty of doing that, and you're trying to defend your own horrible, bad, disgusting actions. And you are the problem that makes the world go to shit.
That's a universal problem.
I'll take it to the next level, Christy. It's not only are you the asshole if you do it, but if you're standing next to somebody that does it and you let it happen,
and you don't say nothing, you don't check your boy.
You got to check your mans. If your crew is behaving that way and you in it,
you better get him. You better get your guy. Get your guy.
Yeah. So
because we got our own versions. I know Karen may not, she can't react all the time. And again, I always feel like I'm the fool out here that ain't got shit to lose. So please, I walk around like what's his name? The comedian from Kings of Comedy, when he was like, I wish a mofo would. I don't have a hope. I hope no one's in my seat. I wish somebody would be in my seat. I wish you would come for me. Try me today. Try me. Just let me be the one. Because I feel like, I was told a long time ago, like when you out in these streets and you go to the store late or whatever, you gotta look crazy because crazy people they're not gonna approach crazy people. So a lot of times we're too kind and we're trying to be, we're not being passive because we're passive people. We're just trying to let the drama pass and be kind and thinking that you got to be a damn fool with some people. But I think it depicted reality incredibly well, incredibly accurate. And if you mad about that, you the asshole and you're the problem. So I mean, you better go.
And I hope for that reason it continues, because of what it does is it forces discussions, arguments and debates that we often don't think we need to have in the male.
We need to argue.
And we sometimes think that our brothers to the left and the right of us are all cool because we never seen them talk a certain way or take a certain position. But then we say like, yo, man, like you really think that that's a problem? Like maybe we need to have a conversation about, the way you see things, because these discussions need to happen on our side so that it don't spill over into y'all side. By the time it spills over to y'all side, all that guy's friends, family, parents, all of them have already failed. If they calling you a bitch because you didn't give them the answer they want, all of society leading up to that point has already failed. And we got to get ahead of that. And discussions like these that happen on sensitive issues where people might not normally say nothing. They don't say nothing when they see a news clip of a woman getting shot in the club for saying no or something like that. That doesn't spark a discussion. But when a superhero takes a position and then you go, oh, like now I'm getting to hear your perspective. Now you've got an opening to have a conversation with your people where you could be like, hey, I need you to flesh that out. Tell me where you really stand on that, because we need to have a conversation about it. Hopefully I can enlighten you. Hopefully I can evolve you. Hopefully I can, bring you up to a certain level.
Or
but
I
if
could
not,
be Michael Myers. You could either meet the happy me.
These talks got to happen. These conversations got to happen. And I think shows like this will allow for it to, especially if the voices are authentic and the writing is authentic and the scenarios and the characters are putting that forward. And so far, so good. So yes,
I love
absolutely.
it. Yes. Definitely gets bops.
Oh, but it gets all the bops. It was amazing. Good start to a series. Yes. And I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Fig Pin. They have donated a ton of pins that we are sending. Hilton, this is your week. What you have to do to qualify for a Fig Pin, you have to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have to leave a comment under this episode. Tell us what you think. Give us your opinion of what we've been talking about today.
We'll see it.
Yes, Hilton is going to pick 2 winners, and we are going to send out 2 Fig Pins, and we are going to make some dreams come true. We are going to have some fun, but we want to send a shout out to them. They are amazing. They've donated a ton of pins to us to give to our viewers. They are huge supporters of the BOP, the BLERD official podcast. And guys, that's it. We are at the end of the episode. I know it goes so fast. But man, this was a good one.
I'm wrong on the West Coast.
I know. When it's fun, it goes fast. It's a blink of an eye. Yeah.
I'm excited that we have more to talk about, though, about She-Hulk. I'm excited that this is not the end of the conversation, because I know it's going to get even better.
Yeah, because we're going to dedicate an entire episode. Once the series has run its course, we're going to dedicate an entire episode, and we'll review the series and give our opinion, and hopefully we still love it. But so far, they got me. And this is the one thing I want to end on. Now, Captain America could get it. Like, he could get it. Like, there is no way he could get it. We know Cap got it, because I'm letting you know right now. He could get it.
Well, I know you're happy because we know Captain America.
Captain America. Like I don't even know why that was a debate. I don't even know why people thought that America's ass did not get it. That he's not a virgin. I never thought he would be the virgin. Like, there are other characters I think are the virgin. There is no way Cap was a virgin.
But Cap is a good guy, and he ain't got to run a campaign on it. Like, that's what I love about it. Like, I know he's getting it, but he ain't got to tell everybody.
You saw how old girl kissed him. Remember in Civil War, how she gave him that, like, she kissed him, and Bucky and the Falcon were in the car, like, man, Cap was never gonna be a virgin. Why they even try to bring that discussion up? It was a whole, and like, I love how they were like, let's put this to bed, and we're gonna use it in this series, and we're gonna put this to bed. And you're right, that was the best credit scene. No demand. Yeah. Okay.
Jeff been talking about the super soldier serum.
First of all, he was a super soldier. You know. Oh my gosh, guys. This is the BOP, the BLERD official podcast. Cap, you can get it. I am here all day, every day. We love you guys. America's ass is, that was America's ass. I've gone to the gutter.
She Comic-Con wasted, y'all. She don't know how to behave.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm batshit crazy. We love you. Take care. We love you. We mean it.
See you next week. Be great.
Be great. Go vote. Register to vote. Bye.
Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of the BOP, the BLERD official podcast.